how are you within your firm? How are you using AI? And also, what role do you see AI playing? And I know it's very new to all of us, and so we're still trying to figure that out. But as of right now, what's the role that you see AI playing? So again, how are you using it, and what's the role that you see it playing?
Well, I can answer that if you're looking for someone to speak up first. First of all, we tried using um, a base in India to do a lot of the financial analysis for roadshows and for client presentations. And that worked out pretty well for a while. And now we're into the age of AI. So we've stopped using our Indian resources and we are using Rogo right now as doing a lot of work for us. And we found that to be really quite good. There
What's
is
Rogo, Richard?
it's a financial modeling software
Okay.
using
It's
uh,
strictly for investment banking. Sorry to jump in,
yeah,
Richard, but
yeah.
we use it at our firm as well.
You
Okay.
use it as well. I found it to be very satisfactory, but obviously there's no substitute for human input, particularly on the making contact with potential investors or buyers. It doesn't certainly help in that regard, but it does put a lot of stuff together that was done manually before. So that's sort of phase one of how we're looking at AI, how we've looked at it.
Thank you, Richard.
Yeah.
I don't mind jumping in. Or Michael, sorry, go ahead. I don't want to interrupt
Oh,
you.
no, I mean, it's probably more the same. Not as sophisticated in terms of using IB specific software, but at Keel Point, kind of a traditionally a family office, private client, and institutional investment platform, and then a partner of I have started a kind of boutique investment banking platform serving the lower middle market. And with a lean team, we've really leveraged enterprise Claude, and I've spent a ton of time building skill and writing Python inside of Claude to, essentially like make sure everything's branded correctly. There's some native tools inside of Claude in terms of like financial analysis and things like that. So we've been kind of, I would say, like bit by bit building up a platform. To Richard's point, I'm still building buyer lists pretty manually and still reaching out pretty manually, but I can get about 85 to 90% of the way there on the SIP through using Claude Enterprise, and then about the same 85 or 90% of the way there on the model. And then the plugins, especially in Excel and PowerPoint, to be able to operate with AI inside of Microsoft products has been really, really helpful. Just kind of plain language, this is what I want, and then watch that output happen.
Yeah. Yeah, if I can jump in, right, just to piggyback on that. As a firm, we use Rogo, plus we use the Claude Enterprise. One of the just flag issues we came across with compliance is using the models in Claude or anything else with regards to Series 24 and confidentiality. So Rogo has been the preferred route on that side, unless you can blank it out and as you use the models. We just got hammered on that pretty strictly with our compliance side, saying you cannot do that. So just flag that.
Can I ask a question about that? So we went through like firm-wide, obviously we've got family office and institutional investments happening apart from the banking platform. We spent a ton of time like looking into like what the kind of black box of enterprise level Claude actually is and does. We got comfortable with it. I wasn't obviously on the compliance team. I'm curious if you felt like there was a large amount of due diligence there that led to a no or a question mark or not.
I don't think it's large as far as that goes. We use Brighthorn Securities as our third party, and they're the ones who told us you cannot do that, or don't, at least, or be very, very cautious. As long as it's a closed loop, you're better. But if you're using chat or anything, it becomes a little bit more, it's kind of hairy, I guess I would say.
And George, I'm sorry, what did you get the no on?
Using chat,
Yeah.
like Claude Chat or anything to put any financial models or anything that has customer or client information, whether it's a SIP or anything kind of going into that, just be very cautious.
Enterprise license? Sorry, is that under your enterprise license?
Correct. Even with that, and the reason from what we understood, is you sign an NDA with the client and you're technically sharing the client information with this third party. This just sounds like lawyer talk to me.
Yeah.
If we're being completely honest, but this just wanted to flag it out there. But I'll tell you what we are using the AI for, and I spent weeks with Claude on code and trying to build out lists. And really that's the biggest use of my time, is trying to take Claude or take Rogo and try and build out prospect lists. Buyer lists are pretty easy, but prospect is a little bit tougher, just the noise out there. And I ended up spending 2-3 weeks getting a $17,000 unit list and had to parse it down to 2,000 or so, but a lot of manual labor. So I think, Richard, you'd mentioned you cannot replace a person yet. That is 100% true, but it does at least give you the template you can start with and start to parse it down from there.
I've got a quick cautionary tale. I was working on a deal a couple of years ago. Maybe all this stuff is better now. It was a defense deal. It was a missile component. So we're putting the book together, and like a lot of these technical things are, it wasn't quite a word salad, but it was, if you didn't have a PhD, it wasn't clear that you'd understand what this component was for and what it did. So I asked the junior staff, see if they could clean this up, maybe some little simple diagrams so someone without a technical background could understand why the company was worth what we said it was worth and why people would buy it. And so they did what junior staff do. They used an AI tool to kind of improve the language. And so, a day or two later, I looked at the book. The book looked good. They did exactly what I asked. And so we were all surprised when the FBI showed up and wanted to know why we had downloaded top secret missile component specifications and what we had done with them. So we got a quick lesson. Nothing in the internet ever goes away. So the fact that you search for something, the fact that you're asking for a list or specs, or you're writing a sim or a teaser or a guide, it's still in the cloud someplace. And so other people get to look for it. We found out the source for all of this was, I think, some guys at Rockwell were working on the widget, and they had loaded some stuff in to improve the technical performance. They'd asked their version of Claude, can you improve these parameters? That's what was in there. That was the actual violation. But the damn violation ended up in my sim, which was very, very interesting. So what I got out of that, because we had a meeting with lawyers and compliance people and tech people, none of this stuff ever goes away. The fact that you've asked for it is there. All of the data that's generated is there. The fact that you ask is there. Every question that was answered that you've rejected or refined is all there. So, and this is probably why your broker dealer may not like it. It's all there, proprietary or not, top secret or not. It's all still there, and it is searchable and findable. And I don't know exactly a way to work around that. Several of these webinars I've been on, everybody says AI is going to replace all of the junior staff. We won't need analysts or associates. We may not even need vice presidents. We have a great idea. We tell our AI assistant to go, generate a list of 100 buyers for XYZ Corp, and it'll just magically appear together with a teaser and the sim and all the support. I don't know that that's ever really going to happen because of stuff like this.
Yeah. We'll touch on the kind of the human resources part of this, in a few minutes. Thanks for that input. And, I think in terms of security, there's definitely agreements that can be set up, including with Claude. And so I'm not convinced that we should not be using Claude Enterprise. I'll just leave it at that. I think each of us obviously owns kind of researching that further and seeing what agreements we can and should have in place. Let's just pivot to the next question, if it's all right with all of you. So,